we will be discussing section 304A of the IPC. That is the offence causing death by negligence. It is one of the offences affecting human body. The provision says, whoever causes death of any person by doing any rash or negligent act, and that act not amounting to culpable homicide. The rash or negligent act. And the punishment may extend to 2 years or with fine or with both. And this section 304A is intended to cover the cases where a person without having intention and knowledge on his part to cause the death of another person. That means absence of intention and knowledge is the main component for this section 304A. And what are the ingredients? The first one, whoever, that means any person, causes death of any person. That means the result will be the death, and by doing any rash or negligent act, and that act not amounting to culpable homicide. And please note the important point, the act which is a rash or negligent must be direct cause of the death of the other person, or the immediate cause of the death of other person. And it must be noted, there must be absence of willfulness in negligence. And there are several case laws related to section 304A. And in one case, that is in Bhalchandra's case in the year 1968, the fact was the appellant was driving a car at a speed of 35 miles in an hour. It was a permissible speed limit. But while driving the car, he was engrossed in talking with the person who was sitting by his side. And in doing so, the court held that he failed to exercise the caution incumbent upon him. And this was a best example of culpable negligence. And he was therefore guilty under section 304A of the IPC. And in another case, the Sukaroo Kobiraj versus Empress, the year 1887. The fact was cutting out the piles of a person with an ordinary knife, and the dying of the patient due to excess bleeding. And the court held that this act can be said to be a rash and negligent act. And in another case, Baldevji versus State of Gujarat, the year 1979. It has been held that the death of the deceased was a result of rash and negligent driving. And rash and negligent act that causing the death of the person is an offence punishable under section 304A of the IPC. And therefore, he was convicted under section 304A. And in next case, Sripati Pandey versus State of Assam, 1984. The fact was giving directions by a station master to his subordinates to see that the arrangements were made for the arrival of a train. And but there was accident and collision between two trains, and several passengers were died. And the court held that mere directions were not enough, and the station master was held guilty under section 304A of the IPC. And in S.N. Hussain versus State of Andhra Pradesh, the year 1972, the appellant was a bus driver who, while crossing a railway crossing, and rammed into a passing goods train, and resulting in death of 3 passengers and injuring 21 of them. And he was prosecuted for the offences under section 304A and 337 and 338 of the IPC. And in appeal, the Supreme Court held that it was not the negligence of the bus driver, the appellant bus driver, not the negligence of the appellant bus driver, but the negligence of the gateman who, in keeping the gate open, that resulted in the accident. And In the next case, the Supreme Court recognized the duty of the state government in the maintenance of roads. And the court, in a case Ratan Singh versus State of Punjab, the court has shown its great concern towards the lack of consciousness of the citizens and states' misfeasance in maintenance of roads and lack of public interest litigation calling state transport to order and lack of observance of traffic regulations by one and all and lack of police checking and laxity of police authorities and thoughtless hill driving and riding by the persons and joy walking pedestrians. All these make our roads death traps, summoning the innocent to become victims. And these are the important points related to section 304A of the IPC. And for notes, please look into the description box. Thank you.